welcome back to a Who's Better series. It's been a long ass time since I've actually done this series. So today we're gonna do the biggest names, and if you had a Mount Rushmore of like wrestling legends, these guys who I'm gonna talk about today are on your list, or especially on my list. I know people have a lot of things about Hogan and stuff, and as a person, as Terry Bollea, but as the man, as Hulk Hogan, the person, how he can elevate a crowd. I'm gonna talk about that as well as a character. But today, as you guys know, it's in the title: Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan, brother. So both guys. So Ric Flair debuted in 1972, December of 1972. So last month was his anniversary. I think it was 49 years or 48 years ago he debuted in wrestling business. So that was August of 1977 is when Hogan brother debuted. Um, who had the best views? Now the best view, the number one of who had the best views. I've kind of talked about a couple of big views that Ric Flair had. I could have maybe put some more on, but he's kind of cover how the HBK won at WrestleMania 24, which I think is an underrated match. The Macho Man Randy Savage, WrestleMania 8, obviously Hogan in WCW, which they should have feuded at WrestleMania 8, but that's not here nor there. I'm not going to talk about it. Mick Foley, this was kind of in the Bruce Gresham era, and Dustin Rhodes with the Four Horsemen. Like their feuds were awesome. And Hogan brother, Hogan obviously Andre the Giant, which also made his career. Like he made his career off that. Like that elevated Hogan's career with the body slam at WrestleMania 3, brother. Then we had the Macho Man Randy said the Mega Palace, brother. Shake my hand, brother. Then we had The Rock when he came back at WrestleMania 18, and came in as Hogan NWO. He came back to an awesome WrestleMania 18 reaction. It was also in Toronto where he also faced Warrior. I could have put that as his great feud, and then actually I have actually put Ultimate Warrior in there as well. So yeah, who had the best views? I'm gonna say that on a business point of things, I'm gonna go for Hogan on this, because if you're gonna go business, I would say Hogan. But for wrestling wise, HBK had not HBK. Ric Flair had a lot of good matches, especially like the last match in WWE with HBK. That's one of my favorite matches. The Savage match he had at WrestleMania 8 was good, and even the hardcore match with Foley. Like this was Ric Flair. He's normally like a technical wrestler that isn't this hardcore style, and he adapted his style to Mick Foley. He's not the best wrestler, really, and he's more of a hardcore wrestler. And Ric Flair actually adapted himself to that style of Foley. And also the same with Dusty Rhodes, so I'm going to go with Ric Flair for number one. At number two, better in ring, Ric Flair is going to win at number two. Who got me more into a promo? Now this is, I'm kind of tossed of who got me into actually invested if I was going to watch a Ric Flair or a Hulk Hogan promo. I've got to say that I love Ric Flair's promos, especially the one he did with Jay Lethal and TNA. But if I'm gonna go for one, I'm gonna say Hulk Hogan. How he would, like, especially in like the 80s, how he would get all the Hulkamaniacs to get behind him and just invest and getting into his match and stuff like that. So I'm gonna say Hogan was the best at kind of like he's Hulk Hogan, he can hype up whatever. So yeah. Better at politics. Now I did this one for Hogan, and it is Hogan. Hogan has won the politics award, so that's Hogan. And then the last one of this is who had the most impact on the business. Now, P, I know if you're talking about wrestling wise, and for kind of two characters, you have Ric Flair, who has this styling, profiling. People still do it to this day. Like they're still doing the Ric Flair gimmick. People do, like they're still, doing that gimmick and stuff with Ric Flair and stuff, and stuff with Hulk Hogan. Like the amount of people that he elevated, how many kids in the 80s. I don't care about how many times that Hogan has done bad shit, and he's fucked up, and he shouldn't be even on the internet, in my opinion, talking about shit. Like the whole thing, just he shouldn't be saying anything about anything. Like, he shouldn't have Twitter, in my opinion, Hogan. But Hogan, when he's in the ring, when he was wrestling in the ring, he is one of the best at making an audience hate him or love him, and that is not many things that people can do in today's WWE. And he's one of those rare characters that can do that. And something that kind of Flair isn't that good at is that he can. He's a good bit. I mean, he's a decent babyface, but he was better as a heel. Like, he was great at, everybody could hate him. Everybody would hate Ric Flair because he was doing the dirty tactics. He was foot on the ropes, whatever, because he was the dirtiest player in the game. And with Hogan, like, he made all these Hulkamaniacs, like all these kids Hulkamaniacs from the 80s and from the 90s. He was like, made him like change the business, and he turned heel. Hulk Hogan turned heel. That's like if John Cena turned heel like in today's WWE, or Roman Reigns turned heel like he did last year. But that's what he did. Like, Hogan made people like doing too sweets, and he elevated himself that way, and that was just great. And he made guys like Sting. Sting was on that list for Hogan as well. A great feud he had. But in my opinion, the one of the best people that elevated the crowd and had more of an impact on the business, and that actually made wrestling mainstream. People actually forget that. Before Hogan and all that came in, you had Vince. Basically, he got it off his dad, and he got the company from his dad, and he basically said, "I want to make this a global phenomenon. I want this to step away from the regional, and I want this to go international." Which, it was a gamble by Vince, and he needed a guy to actually help him let it go international, and that was Hulk Hogan, brother. And it worked. And in my opinion, Hulk Hogan, I know the shit he's done in his personal life isn't that good, but for what he's done in the wrestling world, like for especially WWE and even wrestling in general, you've got to go Hogan. So what do you guys think of this Who's Better Series? Leave your thoughts in the comments, guys, and I will leave you, and I'll check you later. Peace.